It's Monday, which means it is time for the Troubleshooters. Beep, beep. Anyways, hi. I had a weekend full of running Strixhaven. All right, I'm just gonna say that I'm excited for it. Everybody says Strixhaven, the curriculum of chaos. It's wizarding school, and they go, "Oh, it must be like Harry Potter." No, not at all. Think magicians, and if you haven't seen the Magicians, you're missing out. It's a great show, but it's very much college. It's very much the Order, or like I said, the Magicians. It's fantastic. I got to play a little bit of year one and a lot of year two, and it is a lot of fun. And there might be something in the works for that in the future. I'm not going to say yes or no, but I'll just say that I talked to the production manager. I'm looking over at him as he's ducked down right now, and we both loved the idea that we came up with for something. You can't hide from me. I can find you. I have you in my phone now, I think. Anyways, as he's trying to duck down in his chair. He's either raising the desk or lowering his chair, one of the two, and it's hilarious. He's just slowly disappearing out of frame. Anyways, it was a lot of fun, and if you haven't picked it up, give it a chance. It is very much a let's sit around the table and play some D&D and just laugh and have a great time. It is an opportunity for everybody to just play a game. It has a really neat mechanic in it where you get relationships. You can make friends. You start off at a 0, and if you can choose to make a rival of someone, or you may make a rival out of them. There was one character that had a very punchable face, and for everybody that met him, immediately they were like, "I hate that dude," and rightly so. He was very much Draco Malfoy meets any pretentious rich child that is just an asshole. So like anybody that like Kyle Rittenhouse, I just wanted to punch this guy. So it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. The unfortunate side of it is it's not our big seller right now. So I got out of 5 tables that I got scheduled for, I only got to run 3. No, 2, right? Saturday morning and then Sunday morning, and that was it. Sunday evening, and that was it. Just because there wasn't a lot of tickets being sold. I did get to play a little bit, and that was a lot of fun. I played a life cleric who was just begrudgingly healing people. I guess I have to keep you alive as well. Come on, don't want you to die on me this day. So, and he was a dwarf, and he was just curmudgeon. It was a lot of fun, and I will not be running virtual D&D weekend for the next 2 months, so April and May, because in April we have the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, where yours truly will not only be running the Trivial Trials of Tristan Trust, but also a tournament. So there'll be a tournament played just like there was last year. I don't know what the prizes are yet, but we will let everybody know. I'm also gearing up for RPG Con, and you will be seeing posts after post after post. I've got those things. I'm working on writing all the adventures down now so that I can get those out to the DMs. Yeah, there's just a lot going on with us, so here we go. Also, about Dire Bear, you will notice soon, because I am going to go ahead and announce this now. He's probably going to be like, what? We are working on new title cards for the different shows, thanks to Otter's impressive ability to understand how software works and just make it happen. He picked up this program and was like, this is the free, let me see if I, this is the free version, but I'm going to try this out, and here we go. And the next thing you know, there's my big beard. I'm going to try this thing out and just make it work. So he got this new software, and he started playing around with it. And then he was bitching about the transitions for the names. The next thing you know, he's like, oh, I figured out how to make the transitions work. And then the day he showed me this one, and I was like, would you spend all weekend on that? He's like, no, I spent like 3.5 hours, and it looks fabulous. It's fantastic. So, Otter has been hard at work on things, and I'm looking forward to all of it. There's been some change up in players with some of the shows, so we'll have new players in place for some of them. Varenheim is still on break for now. It'll be back in early April. Thank you. It'll be back in early April. I know that Saturday night we have the final few episodes of The Lost or Stolen Cities, and that should be underway here pretty soon. And We still have Star Wars tomorrow night, and Wednesday night we have no. We still have Fall Skull and Nights on Wednesday. Yep, for now. The season finale is coming up this Wednesday, and then they will take a break. Um, but yeah, there's a lot going on. If you are a DM or a player who is interested in joining us, either running a game or playing in a game, join us on our Discord if you haven't done so and talk to me. We're always looking for DMs to run games. There are some standards that we have, but for the most part, as long as it's an RPG that you can get behind, it does not have to be D&D. If you are a big fan of Blades in the Dark or Kids on Bikes or Monster of the Week, as I look over at Q, who does a little dance. That is like the biggest straw I've ever seen. Anyways, if you're a fan of RPGs and you have something that you want to run, let me know. We will work on getting it together and putting it in a time slot. And we're happy to have you. So join us. Let's see. So I think that's all that I have coming up is the RPG Con. The virtual D&D weekends will start back up in June as we are planning on things. I've got a lot going on behind the scenes here, just in my personal life going on, because I am clearing out my house, getting ready to probably put on the market here soon. So I'm going to look at moving towards the Huntsville area because that's where everything is at. And I am not in the Huntsville area. I'm in the Huntsville area, but I'm not in Huntsville. So with that being said, though, let's see. We want to thank D&D Beyond again for all of the support that they allow us to use their product. Don't forget, Call of the Netherdeep is out. Critical Role's first adventure book. Yes, I am a Huntsville adjacent. I'm like, what do you think? 25 minutes away, Vixen? About 25 minutes? No, actually, given that my drive to work, it's like closer to 40 minutes, but still. Call of the Netherdeep is out. I did get a chance to look it over. It looks really good. I have not had a chance to read it fully, but from what I have seen, I'm impressed with their stuff. I have no issue with Exandria or Wildmount or Taldore or now Marquette, because I'm sure there'll be a book for that coming out soon. I just know that for me personally, there's some other things there, but I have started watching the campaigns again after I've finally gotten over this whole thing of like imposter syndrome. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. Thanks to all of your encouragement. And I've started watching the campaigns and I really like what they have. Thank you. And it's entertaining. And I'm watching it as entertainment, not ideas or anything else like that. Just purely digesting it for entertainment. I like the world building he's done, and it's really good. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Call of the Netherdeep is out now. You can purchase it in your local game store or D&D Beyond. That is D the letter. Yes, the monsters in there. Otter mentioned the monsters that are in Call of the Netherdeep. Oh my god. The monsters alone in that book are cool. And it has a rival system as well that you can run it opposite of each other. So it's something that I've seen before. If you played Waterdeep Dragon Heist, you can make the bad guy is different depending on the season that you're running, but it's really interesting to see. So again, Call of the Netherdeep is out now. Check it out. Now, I want to talk on something else before we get into this game. Picture it now. There's a young DM. He is 15 years old, 14, 15, 16, just getting into D&D, and my friends tell me, here, read this book, and it's called The Dragons of Autumn Twilight. I pick it up and I read it. I pour through it. It's actually my mom that got it for me. And I pick it up and I pour through it. I read through it as fast as I can. And then I pick up the next book. And then I pick up the next book. And then I pick up the next book. And I fell in love with the characters, but more importantly, I fell in love with the world. I got that as one of the settings that I had. We loved it. As much as I love Forgotten Realms, Krynn. The world of Krynn, which brought us Dragonlance. I bring this up for one very important reason. On Unearthed Arcana, finally, for the first time in months, they have a new playtest material. And it is the Kinder race, as well as some backgrounds and some different changes. The Knights of Solamnia. It is all Kryn and Dragonlance. Dragonlance was, yes, it was my jam as well. I'm hopeful that we will see Dragonlance in the not too distant future. Now, I predicted back when they dropped the big lawsuit between Wise and Hickman, and that all got settled out of court, the reason that they did that was because they were going to be opening up Dragonlance again. I will say this much, and I'm not going to tell you where I saw this information, but there was a little bit of a teaser that WotC put out. Yours truly may or may not be on some playtests, but anyways, there was a little teaser put out. And it was this red gem, this red crystal. My prediction, because they said that they were going to put out campaign guides and settings that were popular back then. They said this months and months and months ago. I said they're going to put out 3 that were popular. My thought pattern was Spelljammer, Dragonlance, possibly Greyhawk, which I would be okay with all 3 of those. Spelljammer had to deal with the crystals because the crystals were looking to destroy. Anyways, Spelljammer had to deal with the crystals. My thought was that they're finally getting ready to talk about dropping Spelljammer on us. Greyhawk would absolutely be nuts. But if I see it coming down the line, it'll be much further. With them dropping all of the stuff for Dragonlance, this last Unearthed Arcana, if we see it more than 3 times, then we know that's coming. Because that's usually the way it works. If it shows up on Unearthed Arcana about thrice, it'll probably be in a book. Not too far after that. So my prediction is the next ones we'll see are Spelljammer, followed by Kryn, or Dragonlance, I should say, and then Greyhawk maybe further down the line. But anyways, either way, I'm excited because Spelljammer would be a great way for us to bring the multiverse aspect, because now you can get to Eberron, you can get to Kryn, you can get to these places, which will allow for a lot of crossover with people, especially since the Feywild exists between them all, and we've already started to see a little bit of crossover because of something else that happened in Wild Beyond the Witchlight that I'm not going to get into because we may or may not have players listening. Anyways, so keep an eye out for that. The next book that WotC is putting out is Mordenkainen Presents the Monsters of the Multiverse, which reworks your races. It's going to rework monsters. It's got a lot that's coming up. There is a huge change to player races that's coming up in Monsters of the Multiverse. As I get more information, I will go over all of that. That will be coming out in May, so keep your eyes peeled for it. You can get it now if you purchase the expansion gift pack, but I ain't dropping $165 right now because WizKids just put out some new Warlock tiles, and that's where all my money's going. I mean, the kids can eat ramen, it's fine. But they got more Warlock tiles, and I gotta get those because, it's Warlock tiles. But anyways, I think I've prattled on enough. Let's recap. Last time on the Troubleshooters, we had a fight. A big ballyhoo, or as I've learned from watching Pennyworth, a huge argy-bargy. There was a big fight. There was a gunshot, an explosion that sent our allies spiraling into death, at least one of them. Through much prayer and sacrifice, Emrys was brought back, but not at a cost. But not without a cost, I should say. One ally was stripped of their abilities. The other one given a curse. After licking their wounds and resting for a bit, Colm gives them a place tucked away in a different dimension for them to take respite, as the city sees the gigantic form of the Demogorgon appear again. The party slips into the mansion, shutting the door to try to get a rest. And that's where we'll begin tonight's episode of The Troubleshooters. Welcome back. Recovering from your wounds, you all dive into the mansion. You take a moment of rest. Some of you have lost something very dear to you. As you're hobbling in to find a place to sit down, the table laden with food, you tuck in. You notice that Combe has been very quiet. As a matter of fact, ever since reuniting with him, he seems to be different. Normally energetic and always looking for the brighter side of things, he seems more subdued, if you will.
So he was
Sullen
going
almost.
kind of gray attitude wise when we met him last, and now it's even darker.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not sure if it's darker, but it's definitely different.
I'm coming in hot. I will fix that right meow. Sorry for your ears, folks. That should be a whole lot better.
Everybody else good? He is sitting at the end of the table, a piece of chicken in front of him that he is tearing small pieces off of. It's a quarter of a chicken. He's tearing small pieces off of it and popping them into his mouth. Every once in a while, he tears a small piece of bread off and eats it, but he seems to be doing that like 1,000-yard stare off into nothingness.
You okay there, bud?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I'm well. Thank you. Just lots on my mind. Are you all right? You took quite a blow. I'm glad that I could help you rest.
Glad you guys showed up.
No. We heard the explosions and everything, and we figured if anyone's going to make a row, it would be you guys. So I'm glad that we are able to intervene at the moment that we did. Is Imrus all right?
They've been a bit quiet, but I think so.
Hmm. Passing over, I'm sure, will have that effect on someone. Hmm. At least we have a few moments, or at least we have a bit of time before we have to head back into the fray. This will be safe here, anyways. If you need anything, there are many servants around to help out. Feel free to ask them to take care of anything, and if it's well within their abilities, they will certainly do so.
Is there anywhere I could go take a good soak?
Um, yes, actually, there is a large. There are several bath areas that allow you to soak in the tub.
That last explosion hurt quite a bit. I could use a good soak.
It looked like it roughed you up quite a bit. And he motions, and you see a pair of disembodied like gloves floating over. They steeple themselves and they move like they're bowing to you. And then it offers its hand and beckons you. You can have Rupert bring food to you if need be.
Are all of them Rupert?
They are all named Rupert.
Okay. Easy enough
I'm
to remember.
I'm creative in some ways, and in some ways I'm just not.
Are you sure you're okay?
Right as rain, old chap. Right as rain. Go soak. Get some rest. There's a lot ahead of us in the next few days. Welcome, Deca.
Before I hobble away, how full of shit is he? Do I believe what he's saying?
Inside check.
Sitting there staring at the wall for a while before I said anything. Dirty 20. 12 plus 8.
Given what you know of him and you've seen his mannerisms before, you already know that he's like his mood and things are darkening. You can clearly see that he's bouncing his leg and like he seems to answer you, but it's almost perfunctory. You get that something's weighing on his mind.
As I hobble away towards the bath, I'll just kind of shout out behind me, "It'd probably do you good too," and just kind of head on along.
Right. Yeah. And he once again kind of turns to like as you walk away, for those of you who are watching, he looks down at his food like he's seen it for the first time. And then he just kind of moves the plate and then pulls something else over. It looks like a small bowl ladled from a tureen that's there. It appears to be some sort of bisque or something like that, but he's just kind of eating idly, tearing off pieces of the bread, dipping it, eating. You get that the act of eating for him is like, I have to put something in my body, but it could be just plain paste for all I care, because it's just like he's not enjoying the food, he's just eating because he has to. Go ahead.
Liz watches as Moonin leaves, and she's been watching the interaction. She's kept somewhat of an eye on Emrys as well as Gedge, just to make sure that they seem okay, but she was worried about Moonin and now watching Colm. So she is going to come over, and she'd like to see if he is the same Colm that she knows, or if he's like another of like the stone like golem that like he had done, or if he is like who he says he is.
If it's the Colm, or if it's simulacrum Colm. All right,
Colm Prime.
give me Colm Prime. Give me an insight check.
That is a 21.
Seems to be him.
She's just going to kind of move down and just kind of like start to be like, I have that stare as well. Do you want to talk about it? I mean, you don't have to. I'm happy to just sit here with you, but I'm here if you want to talk.
Thank you. There's you sacrificed quite a bit today, didn't you?
I still believe in my God, even if my God doesn't believe in me anymore.
I understand. How is Emrys?
Alive.
Good for all of us. How are you?
She just kind of like moves about, like she just kind of like tilts her head back and forth, and she goes, alive. How are you? And don't say alive, because that was my answer.
There's a gigantic demonic creature. We just lost a friend that was returned to us. I'm seeing things unfold before me, and I just learned that this world is shaped by a madman. About as well as one could imagine.
Yes, I'm a bit surprised that the madman is still around. I thought we got rid of him.
He's a slippery devil, that one. But that's why we're here, right? To put an end to chicanery from his lot. I rather think that we had the upper hand. We could end this quickly. The problem that I have is there's a 20 to 30 foot tall two-headed demon running around with tentacle arms. One tends to have a bit of an issue overcoming something of that magnitude. I'm trying to devise a plan that says, let's send you back to where you belong without getting us all killed. Again, in some cases.
She just sort of nods her head and goes, "Too bad we couldn't invite him to tea and just chat this out."
Would that be that we had an option for doing that? Would be my first choice. Just to sit down and say, let's have a biscuit. Hello, old friend. Let's have a talk. Unfortunately, I don't believe he's one to listen to reason. So, bullets, blades, and magic it is. Unfortunately. I think the shock of losing one of my allies is sitting hard with me. Thank you.
Well, we didn't lose him, so,
Well,
or,
even momentarily.
yeah, things that lost her can be found. So,
Hmm.
and it seems like we might not have we might not be able to lose some of our other patrons.
Yeah. Time will see what unfolds here. I believe I may take up Munin's idea and go have a soak. And he kind of like stands and nods. If you need anything, you can talk to one of the Ruperts. And again, you see like disembodied gloves like moving around doing things. They're all very lovely. Not talkative, but they'll take care of whatever it is you need.
Enjoy your soak, friend.
Thank you. And he disappears off into the manor. Moonin, you are led away by one of the Ruperts up a grand staircase to a second floor, down a long hallway that opens into a room that has a copper tub. You see several pipes that come out with spigots on them, marking both hot and cold. You fill it up. Yes, Decca, he is calling all of his invisible servants Ruperts. The pair of disembodied gloves walk over and turn on. You see them take out several of the several bottles, and they start to portion out some of the things in the bottles. The water turns this kind of like translucent bluish color before turning back to normal. As he adds another one, it has a different hue to it, and the hue starts to change. It smells very. It's not cloyingly fragrant, but it's fragrant enough that you can tell that whatever he's adding is going to open up your nose, your pores, your body. So once once the hands are done pouring in those things, you watch they lay out a very fluffy towel and a robe that is hung on a hook there. It's almost like a coat rack that's there, and a big fluffy terry cloth robe is hung there. The hands, you can't tell that it's, but you get the idea from where the hands are positioned, one in front and one behind, that the invisible servant has bowed to you, and then the hands leave, closing the door quietly, leaving you to soak in the tub. The water is just on the other side of all being a little too warm for you, but it's like you slide into it with that, and then your body relaxes as the warmth like slides over you. And it's just a very nice long soak in this copper tub.
Sounds lovely. I'm going to try and just fade away from my brain and soak in this tub.
It's just eyeballs over the eyeballs over the top of the tub. Falls asleep in there. Poof. Emrys, the food is wonderful set upon the table. You can see Bruno standing there. Annie is like mothering over him. Show us your arm, love. Let's see what's going on. Don't be such a baby. Come on. Raise your arm up, or I'll wallop you on the head. And I feel all right now, love. Look, my arm's fine. As he lifts his hand up. I'm hungry. And he starts like tucking into food.
Um, I'm just like picking at the food a little bit, eating here and there. I spent most of my time fairly close to Gej. Uh, be it like we're so close that basically we're just arms are touching each other basically at all times.
like knees touching under the table kind of
Knees
thing.
touching under the table. If someone has a conversation with me, it's like
Mhm.
I'm holding on to the sleeve of Gej's jacket, and like I'm facing them if Gej is facing the other way. It's just I'm basically just trying to reground myself in a sense.
That 3 points of contact, like, find 5 things in the room to help bring your anxiety down.
Yeah.
Um Gej almost involuntarily, maybe a little bit voluntarily, reaches over and just like squeezes your leg comfortingly, and just kind of like pats your knee. Doesn't move your hand, doesn't do anything else to like, move away from you. It just sits there with you. Um
Mm.
Gedge seems quiet as Philip sits across from you. He looks at you and he says, "You seem different."
Um. Yeah. Uh. Sort of.
What happened?
Well, I died.
The apparent things aside, of course you died. But
Yeah. I
what
lost
happened then?
I lost something along the way, something that had attached to me in a way.
That's what it is. Your magic. Your magic's gone.
Yes,
I could tell. I could tell just by looking at you.
I can't tell if that's a bad thing or if it's a good thing.
Do you feel it's a bad thing? Or
I'll
is it
admit.
just a thing?
I'm sure it'll be just a thing soon. It feels awful, right now at least.
Perhaps it was a burden that you walked around with for some time. So long so that you didn't even know what it was.
You
Now that you're without it, you're not sure.
things will be a
Just
little
my
different.
thoughts.
No.
Just my
Um,
thoughts.
question.
Mhm.
Whenever I lost that, did I lose the wand of fireball as well?
No,
Oh, I
I
still have
mean, I mean, I assume that they like anything that you had on you went with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So you
I
still
wasn't
have
sure if
that.
that was something it was a gift from him, so he took it.
No, because it was a physical manifestation of something.
Okay.
So he just took your ability to draw upon those abilities. But
No more Eldritch blasts.
no more Eldritch blasts.
Gosh darn.
Now you just have to sneak up on him and stab him the good old fashioned way.
I know, back to the roots of things.
Damned rogues. Um, Philip looks at you and says, "Well, I know that I barely know you, but My sister seems to believe that you're a good person. So, you're a good person. Glad to have you back.
Thank you for
Of
everything.
course. My pleasure. And he kind of like loses what else to say and just kind of like, oh, look, pie. um, does anybody have anything else that they want to do before we call it an evening for the magnificent mansion?
If we're resting here, like if we're being given rooms and stuff, I would request to share a room with Gej.
Yeah.
So there's besides that.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys have a room together. The Ruperts can show you to a bath if you wish to do so. If there's anything you want brought to your room, again, the disembodied hands of the Ruperts can definitely take care of all that for you. Are all of you retiring to your rooms?
Liz would probably check in on Moonin before she retired for the night, just to make sure that he was okay. Um, Not that she has as much healing power as she did, but she's still, somewhat of a combat. She still has combat medic roots, and that is, the way of her monk. But so she's just gonna check on Moonin to make sure that he's okay, and then probably go wherever the
After
resting
about
is.
an hour and a half, 2 hours of using prestidigitation to keep that heat up in the tub, I would be making my way just in a towel back to find food and then go to bed.
So, not even in the robe, just the towel?
Towel around the waist, tattoos out, just...
Yeah. Like the true Norseman he is. You have no trouble finding your tattooed Norse friend as he comes waltzing down the staircase in naught but a towel. Looking none the worse for wear. He just, there is a pair of disembodied gloves that are following behind, and you can see them making small braids in places. And every once in a while, Moonin's like, no, over there, as it moves to a different spot to make braids in another place of the beard and hair.
I honestly thought you were going to say they were following me with the robe, like, please, take this.
They don't care. They're just
Yeah.
disembodied hands of invisible servants.
So my only plans are grabbing food. If Liz wants to talk, I'm grabbing food, and then I'm heading to bed.
Do you like do the thing where you like look at one of the serving platters, just empty it onto the table, and then just stack the serving platter with food?
Something like that.
Okay.
So I just sort of like, she doesn't really have the full energy to like talk about what happened, and she doesn't really want to get into like what happened with her yet. So she's just like, I rolled a 16 for like a perception to see if he's an okay, and an 18 for like a medicine check, but with bonuses they're both way over 20. So as long as he looks to be physically sound and mentally sound, she's just going to go to bed.
You tell me. Is he physically sound and mentally sound there, Moonin? Nothing that a long night's rest wouldn't hurt?
Physically, I have a lot more tattoos than you guys have seen since we left my parents. My entire upper torso is covered in runes. Front to back. And probably like quarter sleeve. Just runes on runes. I seem pretty okay physically. Mentally, I seem a little shaken. But we're okay. We're all here.
She nods her head and files away the information of the fact that you have way more tattoos than she remembers you having, and the fact that she does not remember us having any time for you to go to a tattoo parlor to get them done. But she doesn't say anything about it. It's your business. She
I'd
just
say
goes to
there's
bed.
more, but towel.
Don't think we need to know about those runes.
Liz
How
doesn't
many
care
is
about
there
those
though?
runes.
Actually, you got a number? No, I'm kidding.
Well, I could tell you there is a large Helm of Awe, if you're familiar, right on the throat. And then it's just scrolling runes across the rest of the torso.
Are they like
Yeah.
Norse runes?
Yes, Liss would be familiar.
Okay. Do you want to share with me as the player what Liz would know about these runes, or are you good?
A mix of literal protective wards, words of wisdom. Seems to be some kind of things from Munen's father, but mostly hinting towards triumph in battle, protection, and then a lot of wards, like runes that are all interlaced with each other to create almost like a mandala.
When she passes by you, she just kind of pats your shoulder and just goes, "I would make the sacrifice that I made for Emrys for you any day of the week. I'm going to bed. I hope you sleep well." And then when she gets up to her room, can she find her mother's ring, or is it just gone?
No, you can find it.
She feels much better now that she found it, because it's the last thing that she has of her mother's.
Yeah, you can find it. You retire for the evening, as does Emrys and Gej. Moonin, you gather a plate of food, and you see Colm walking towards you as you head back up to your room. You see that he has his. You don't think he ever took it off, his coat, and like the accordion case over his shoulders. He looks at you and he's like, "Have a good evening, a good night."
You know we are here if you need to bounce ideas around.
Of course. I trust no one more than you. Thank you. And he kind of like pats you on the shoulder.
Still very much just in my towel, just gonna lean down and give him a bear hug. Thank you for being there today.
Oh, you're welcome. This is awkwardly uncomfortable.
Smells
Right.
like you took my advice. Have a lovely evening.
You as well. And he awkwardly makes his way down the staircase.
I'll
Give me a
wander
perception
around
check.
exploring a little bit before I head to bed, but perception. 19, 11 plus 8.
As he heads down the staircase, you hear a brief sound of something being opened and closed. A door.
I will investigate. Why not?
It came from downstairs, like back where the banquet hall is, that leads out to the foyer, which leads outside. You do not see Colm at the banquet table. As a matter of fact, no one is there anymore. Annie and Bruno and Philip have all disappeared, and you don't see Colm anywhere.
I'll root around for a little bit, see if I can find if there's something wonky going on in this area. If I don't find anything, I'll probably head to bed.
Okay. Looking around, you do not see anything that seems strange. Give me Give me just another investigate. We actually give me an investigation check as you're looking closer for stuff.
+0. Okay. This dice is happy with me today. That's a 16. No modifier.
Yeah, like I said, there's nothing that really seems off in this area. Looking closer, you don't see anything that seems to be like a danger or warning or anything else like that. You just heard somebody like open and shut a door somewhere.
No, we are in a magical building in some kind of void.
Pocket dimension.
A little bit above my knowledge. I'm not gonna look too far into that. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay.
Rupert,
So
where do
one of
I
the
go
pairs
to
of gloves,
bed?
it motions you, and then you watch as it leads you, the little floating gloves leads you toward a third, like you take the grand staircase again up into the second floor, and then it leads you down a different hallway past several rooms. You can see one of them is open, and it has a gigantic library inside of it. You go past another one with the door open, and you can see in it all manner of small items and trinkets and things like that. And then you pass by, and you are led to a series of rooms. As you open the door, and this is holds true for all of you, the rooms are opulent. They are plush beds that are perfectly comfortable by your standards, whatever they may be. The pillows are perfectly fluffed for you, or not even there if you don't like pillows. That it seems like everything has been taken into account for each and every person. And as you tuck in for the evening, the lights seem to automatically dim as well. You didn't even recognize that there was light in here. Like, you just kind of naturally expect to see it. But as you lay down, it dims to a darker color. And it doesn't go out completely, but it dims out enough to where you can relax easily. Um, as you all crash into your respective beds. Liz, you rest fitfully, tossing and turning as you were. You see yourself with wings mounted on a horse. No, you don't have wings. The horse has wings. A golden spear in your hand, your hair flying out behind you. You see yourself standing in a field of white flowers. Each flower has 5 petals. Each petal is perfectly precise, and as you stare closer, you tumble, and the world becomes nothing but these petals all around you. You find yourself falling faster, but no, you're not falling, you're floating. You don't know which way is up anymore as you just feel the petals brush against your skin. You don't land hard, but you land softly. One knee up, the other one on the ground, almost like, the superhero pose. Boom, as you land. The petals swirl around you, turning into white feathers that fall. Stepping out of them is a golden skinned, like kissed by the sun, with a slight olive complexion. She has long dark hair that falls in big sweeping um, braids down either side, back her on her back. She stands in sensible armor that covers her chest and midsection. Her pauldron on this side, the spalder comes up, covering her head, so that she can do this and duck against a sword blow. Her eyes are amber golden. Give me a history check, please. Or actually, history or religion. I'll let you choose either one.
Well, since I have a plus nothing to history and I still have my religion, I'm probably going to go with religion.
Okay.
But that was a nat 1, so it's a 6, but it's a nat 1.
Okay. She looks at you, and you have this look of confusion on your face. You don't recognize her, but there's something familiar about her. You can see her armor and her sword at her side, which is sheathed. The sword that has uh that is basically the hilt of it is two horse heads, and or the crossguard is two horse heads. She has her hand on there, and she walks over to you. You can see a shield slung across her back that she can easily remove and fight. A round shield that was used by the Norse. She looks at you and holds her head up. You don't see her mouth move, but there's a sense about her. You were brave to stand against Hel. She is not one to be easily slighted. Your work is not done yet, though. The power that exudes from this figure is almost overpowering. Like you don't have a choice but to kind of wince away from it, but you don't have anywhere to go. You're already small as it is. As she gets closer, you can see that she looms over you. She could as easily be 6 foot tall as she is 8 feet tall. You don't know. We are always in need of champions, and those who wish to protect. Ferrymen for those who are crossing over, guiding them to Valhalla. Do you know who I am, child?
I'm going to try to roll again. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
That's a nat 20.
Okay. For a total of
25.
something about the white flowers and the cut of this figure reminds you of another Nordic god. Well, another Nordic figure. It's
Is it
always
Freya?
question. It is not. It is always a question of whether or not she is a goddess or just a Valkyrie. But her name is Er. E-I-R. Er. You know her to be, her name means protection, help, mercy.
Liz nods her head and goes, "Yes, I am aware of who you are. Thank you for coming to visit me. I also agree that I don't think my work is done."
Silence your tongue. What hell took, I am willing to repay you. Well, when your job is done, you will be working for me forevermore. Do you agree?
Working how?
You will take up a mount and you will be a Valkyrie, ferrying those to Valhalla that need guidance to them.
Liz nods her head and just goes, "I accept."
The sword is drawn. It rings out. She pulls her shield off of her back. At first, you think she's going to do the traditional tap you on the shoulder kind of knighting thing, but she watches, she deftly switches the sword to where she's holding it with the hilt facing up. She touches the hilt, and you feel this rush of energy that just kind of like starts from the top of your head and shoots down through your feet. You don't know what's happening, but you clench your fist against it. You feel her touch, and it seems to calm you a bit. Relax. Let it flow through you like water. Be not still, but always moving. If you must use your hands, if you must use to fight, look to the weapons with which you were born with, those that you have as your hands and your feet. You are one of our warriors. But before you fight, protect and show mercy where you can. And help those who need it. Do you understand me?
I understand.
Good. She sheathes the sword again. She offers you her hand, and it's massive. And as you put yours in hers, it seems to be the same size. As she stands you up, you recognize that she's the same height and build that you are. She reaches around and embraces you and pulls you in close. And you do that thing where you wake with kind of a start, and you feel the warmth of an embrace around you. And you find yourself falling back to sleep. No more dreams, just peace. You're not sure how long any of you have slept, but around what you guess is morning time, there are knocks at your doors as the Ruperts rouse everyone up. They guide you downstairs to where you see the banquet table spread out, steaming pots of coffee, French toast, pancakes, any sort of food that you could want for breakfast, including a strange sliced green thing that's soft to the touch and malleable, almost like a custard, but with an interesting flavor to it. Everything is laid out on the banquet table. You see that Bruno is there looking even more fit than before, and you see that Annie is tucked in closer to him. Like her chair is a little closer to where he was. She looks up and says, "You've got something on your chin there, Duck." And she brushes off something on his chin, and he kind of blushes just under the eyes. Like the tips of his ears go red. Yes, Dragon Magpie Avocado. You see Philip, and he looks as though you watch him pour a cup of coffee and then just pour a little bit of cream, and then he looks around for a second and he pops a flask and pours something in there, and it's like coffee, little dash of cream, flask. And he takes a long draw off of that and sits back and goes, "Oh, that's the good stuff. Oh, that's lovely, that is." You do not see Colm. Everybody, as you come down, they wave and say their good mornings and hellos. The Ruperts seat you and pour you whatever you would like to drink. Coffee, tea, if you will. Anything.
Ale.
They can find you some breakfast ale. Ale, it's what's for dinner and breakfast and lunch.
It's what's for food.
Mead, if you'd like, can be found. As you all tuck into breakfast, there's not a whole lot of conversation. There's mostly people eating, and again, every once in a while in whispers, Annie and Bruno just kind of have a conversation. About an hour after you all have been sitting there just kind of relaxing, Colm comes down. He looks a bit disheveled. You can see he still has his long coat on and the bag over his shoulder. That's right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. He doesn't say much, but he sits down. As you look at him, you can see he's got dark circles, just kind of barely there under his eyes. His hair looks mussed. You don't know if he slept or if he slept well at all. He orders a cup. He gets a cup of tea and sits there and drinks it, and he gets a full English breakfast, and he tucks into it, not saying a whole lot. He is eating more fervently than he did the day before, but you can tell that he just doesn't seem well.
Liz over breakfast probably would have spoken to Moonin about her dreams the past night. And she probably would have also had the Ruperts do her hair in their traditional braids as well before she went down to breakfast. But as soon as she sees Colm seeming unwell, she's going to go back over there and be like, "You seemed better last night. What happened?"
Bit of a restless night. I'm fine. I'll be get some breakfast in me, and I'll be right as rain. That's all. Just need some food. And he just kind of leans back down.
If you give me, I don't know, probably 30 minutes, I could probably help you with a sleeping draught of some kind. If you were to need it tonight.
We've much to do. I appreciate it. I'm sure it's just a passing thing. I'll be fine. Right as rain, as they say. Just some food. That's all.
Does she believe him?
Inside check.
That's a 15.
I mean, he seems like he says. He just seems like he's a bit like he didn't sleep well. That's all.
The medicine check of just sort of looking him over was a 20, just in case she believes that he thinks that, but she just also wanted to do a visual check to see, and that came up as a 20.
He looks tired but not exhausted, like you said, like he just didn't sleep well. I safely yawn. I'm calm now. I mean, I've always been calm, I guess. Anyways, he
Oh, no, the yawns
You
are
did this to
contagious.
me.
It's hit 3 of us, so
I blame you.
That's fine. I'll take it. As the whole audience starts yawning now. He finishes off his plate of food. He looks at everyone and says, "So, damn you if it spreads again."
Liz would have mentioned that he should probably go for coffee this morning instead of tea then, and then would have left it alone.
He takes your advice and takes a pot of coffee and pours a cup or two. So, we've mechanized infantry units, an army that's down a few men, but not enough to really make a dent, and a giant two-headed demon. What's a team of ragtag freedom fighters to do?
Well, you got to this town a little bit before we did. Have you had a chance to gather any information on the type of numbers we're looking at here?
Minus the few that we took out yesterday, we're still looking at a force of around 10,000. It's not a giant military force. Well, the biggest problem is that they have magic in their hands. We could call down the British Army, but as far as they're concerned, this isn't really their problem. Does that make sense? The Directorate hasn't done them any ill, nor have any of the others. Not to mention, with that gigantic creature on their side, Who's to say? And if enough of the Directorate, which do have military backgrounds much like yourselves, speak to their fellow man, who knows, we could be dealing with numbers that are even larger. It's better that we keep this contained to Innsbruck. But a battalion force of 10,000 strong is not something to go against, especially since there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 of us? 8 of us? So, I went out last night and did a bit of a reconnaissance. The reason why I'm a bit peaked this morning. I think that we can try to sabotage most of the mechanized infantry units. However, it's dangerous.
I mean, we knew that much from yesterday.
Right. They operate on a battery. The battery has to be recharged every so often. There are 2 places within the city that they are kept, from what I've seen. There may be more. But it looks like that most of them are housed in either one of 2 locations. The good news is that while they may have a lot of men, they don't have a lot of those things. After that dynamic display of explosive force that you put on them, some well-placed charges could render them completely inoperable, or at least most of them. Which then leaves us with 9,900 men to deal with. Well, 9,900 or 9,884. But more importantly, there is a small contingency of people, about 100. They mostly live in the northern side of the town. You rescued a few of them from the soldiers the other day in the street. They look like common folk. Just people that live here, and I didn't think anyone lived here. I mean, look at the place. It's desolate. But stubbornness is a trait that is vastly human. I don't think they're much in the way of skilled fighters, but they could be used as leverage against us. Our enemy knows
They also
that
might know their way around the town better than us.
That is what I was going to say as well. I'm not sure where they're located. If they have a central location, or if they're spread out.
It just keeps going in circles.
It does. It keeps going in fucking circles.
Stop.
There it goes.
That's my first one. I've held all the others in.
Stop it.
Trying to swallow them down. I'm just like, stop.
I'm just stretching. I'm not yawning this time. Oh god, I'm gonna spend some points. Stretch.
I'm literally already doing it.
Like,
everybody take a second and move.
Oh. Like,
at the idea or the sound of or the conversation, I guess is actually the more the correct word, of trying to find people that are staying maybe not hidden but out of view, I guess. They'll perk up a little, or I'll sit up a little bit. As much as I wouldn't like to be separated, I could probably do some searching. If anything, it's a talent.
Yes,
Fairly good.
A worried look as you mention this.
I'll go with them if we're going to do it.
Are you offering yourselves up as a team to go out and do this.
We just got you back. I'm not letting you go out there by yourself. And
Much as I
I'm at
understand your
least
worry.
slightly light-footed.
That's where my worry lies. I can take Moonin with me. Nothing against Gej and Liz, but you've both are not the lightest feet. Footed?
You would be correct that I was not the lightest of feet, but I also can no longer carry the armor that I wore. And I'm sure I could be just as sneaky as you could be without it.
And indeed, like the breastplate and everything, you notice today it's replaced by just a simple hassock. It's just a robe almost like that hangs down. You see it's belted, but other than that, it seems to be very free flowing. Seems to be something different about your friend here that you've grown to know over the years, over the last 2 years.
I mean, Liz would still probably be wearing a dress of some kind.
Right.
Because her breastplate was always underneath her, like, clothes. But
Right.
now it definitely does seem like a little bit less everything. It seems like more like a sundress than, like, what she typically wore.
Just had the idea of you just kicking ass in a sundress. Just
It has pockets.
Like a swirling.
And Gej, you're barking mad if you think you're going to go out there on your own. You're not going to do anything without me. I nearly lost you once. Definitely not going to lose you again. So, light-footed or not, I'm coming with.
Gonna fight anybody on it.
Probably for the best.
Well,
Colm says, well, looks like we have our search party then.
Our faces are known to the people who are here, is part of the issue.
Another part of the issue is that all of you had some things that were taken from you. Pilfered, if you were. The good news is that while you were on a train that apparently got wrecked in the mountains, we had another way of getting here. But before that, we noticed that someone got off the train carrying equipment that didn't belong to them. You watch as Bruno says, right, I forgot about that. I smashed that guy's head in real good. And I found some things. Yes, he did. And he gave them to me. And you watch as Colm reaches into his bag and pulls out the items that were taken from you. So there he was. He was getting off a train, and I was between the cars, and when he stepped off, I just reached out and said, oh! And grabbed him around the face. He couldn't scream. It just came out as a... He crumpled like a small tin, just...
I'm not even going to pick up my pistols. I'm literally going to, like, scoop Colm up and, like, spinning hug Colm.
Okay.
We're spinning.
Bruno's like, me next.
I don't know if I could pick you up, fella, but I'll give you a hug for getting these back for me. I appreciate it.
All right, I'll take a hug.
I will do my best to get him like an inch off the floor.
It is a fucking struggle.
Pop a disc
Like I
or
said,
two.
The man is You may have pooped yourself. He is huge. He's like I said. I think in my earlier description, he's close to 6'8", and he is just a broad human being. He is a massive mound of a man. If this were a fantasy world, he would be closer to a Goliath than a human.
Love that.
So I get him to like his tippy toes and then back
Yeah,
down.
he's like, I like you.
Oh,
Liz
right.
smiles and grabs a piece of like taffy, like saltwater taffy,
Mhm.
like out of her bag and just hands it to Bruno before like grabbing her short sword and like putting it where it usually goes.
Yeah, just back there. Bruno's like, oh. Gage quietly walks over and gives, thank you for this, and then immediately picks up the spear and like just like holds it closely before placing it back in, like, across his back. Thought it was gone forever there. Glad it's not. So, are we gonna go out and do daft things? Or we're gonna sit here hugging all day?
Well, having these back calls for a bit of celebration. I'll be right back. I'm gonna head off to my room
Okay.
and pull from my pack a furred, almost like vest
Mm-hmm.
to replace my leather armor with.
Mm-hmm.
Mount the pistols underneath and head back down. Let all the hair down.
Moonin looks fierce as hell. Like, like you're always used to seeing him with the sides of the head cropped close, but now like all of the hair is down and everything. He looks fierce. Well then, if you're going out, take this with you as well. Might help. And he gives you what appears to be like an oversized acorn. It's about that big instead of being like, that. Before you move amongst the the realm there, if you see trouble, smash that on the ground. It'll help you pass more quietly, if you will. We are going to go scout out the best way to disassemble several large explosive devices. Good luck. We'll meet back in the same building later. And Colm and Bruno walks over, and off the back of his thing, he picks up his vest and slides it on. As he puts it on, you notice it has kind of a sheen to it. And he like shrugs the big thing on and like buttons it up. Annie takes another long, like it looks like a trench coat, and she like wraps it on. Philip takes it looks like the headmaster's, the old fashioned headmaster's robes, where it's like this long poncho like thing, and he slips it over himself. Annie looks at him and she says, you look terribly daft, love. I think I look rather smashing. Well, if you say so. At least I'll say, who's the schoolmarm? Not a schoolmarm. Whatever you say, Duck. And with that, she like pats Bruno. He offers her his arm, and they head out with Colm leading the way. Colm looks at you all and says, please, be safe. Who knows what these people are capable of, and, well, I don't want to lose any of you again. And with that, they exit, closing the door. Anything else you want to do inside the magnificent mansion before you exit? All right. Exiting out into the most of the remnants of the building that you were in, as you close the door again, it's this door that leads to an extra planar dimension. There's nothing on either side of it. It's just there. As soon as you close it, it sort of shrinks down to being about that big again, and just kind of lays there. Colm is standing there, and he reaches down and picks it up and opens his accordion case and slips it back in there. Right. See you all soon. And they tuck out through the alleyways, moving ridiculously quiet as they do through the way. He does tell you before you go, when I saw the folks, like I said, they were on the northern side of town. Just be careful. There's still a lot of patrols out, and they're probably on higher alert now that there's been a massive explosion in the city. All right?
Of course.
And he takes off. You all are standing inside of the yellowish orange building that has the second floor is mostly still there. But other than that, you can see the alleyway, or the main road that it sits on is a smaller side street. It's probably only about 10 feet wide. Looks like it was mostly cart paths. You definitely weren't driving a car through here. You can tell that there are alleyways off of it, just here and there. Not a whole lot of them. There are some buildings that still have roofs on them, so you can climb up and get a higher perch if you'd like to. But there's a lot of shelled out buildings here and there, rubble lying around, creating ramps to get up onto it. If any of you have ever played any of like Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5, where they have a lot of the holdout buildings in the cities, it's a lot like that. I saw Otter nodding his head up and down, so. Have you played the new one? No?
I refuse. The
We'll
previous one to the new one left such a bad taste in my mouth, I kind of just was like, I'm done.
Was that 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't like 5?
No.
3 and 4. 3 and 4 were great. 1 was okay. I kind of like the idea of going back to World War 1. It might have been why I set this game there. But all right. How much stealth are we using? You don't see any patrols yet. And you're not sure how far north they are from where you're at. You're not in the epicenter. You're closer on the western border, like where you came in, but north of where you were at beforehand. So you're not sure where in the northeast they are. You know they're in the northern part of the city, which you can see some more roofs. It looks like most of the houses in that area are okay, or at least still standing mostly. So, stealth checks, or are you just going to march across the way?
Liz has like tied a scarf around like her hair, so all of her hair is like tucked into the scarf along with her ears, and she rolled a 26 for her stealth.
Okay.
Stealth it is.
I'll roll for Gage. Let's hope you do well there, buddy.
Yeah, I did. That is a 27.
18. 13 plus 5.
Yeah, 15 plus 12.
Well, Gage at 5.
I just saw it pop up on my screen. I was like, what was that? I guess it's because we're part of the same campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it rolled it twice.
Yeah, I rolled at disadvantage.
Oh, okay.
Because armor.
Yeah.
So, what did Liz have again? Sorry, I got you eating chocolate.
26.
26. Okay. And you said, what did Emrys have?
27.
27. And Moonin?
18.
Okay. You guys are easily making your way through. Yeah. Gej is not built for stealth. However, as you're walking, you guys kind of like lead the way to make sure it's okay, and then when you're sure it's clear, you signal him over, and he just kind of tromps over. So he's very good at standing still while you make sure the coast is clear and then running over to you. As you guys move further north and to the east, go ahead and give me more stealth checks. You have the highest perception, if I'm not mistaken, Liz. Does anybody else have a higher one than Liz? What's your passive perception?
23.
24?
Yeah, mine's a
24.
24.
24. Okay. You don't hear any guards at this point in time. You don't notice any patrols moving through. Go ahead and give me stealth checks again, everyone.
Because I did not hear any guard, my stealth was a little more lax. It's still a 10, but it's not great.
Okay. God.
Did you just nat 1 that stealth check?
Yep, I'm just not one that.
Well, oh, what's up, Charlie?
Hi, Charlie. Hola, Carlito Frijoles. All right. How did Emrys do?
31.
31.
Almost
Okay.
a nat 20.
I thought you said a
Okay.
dirty 1, and I was really confused
No.
because you have a hella modifier.
No, I have a plus 12. I got a 19.
Okay,
Plus 12.
19 plus 12, so 31. How did Moonin do?
16.
16. Okay, and then you said you had a 10. It is a rougher go as you guys cross this alley. As you do, there is like one of you rests up against the edge of the building. Unfortunately, that was just the catalyst. It was probably Gej. Gej rests up against the edge of the building trying to like blend in, and it was just the catalyst needed. You hear the sound of and bricks just cascade off the side of this thing as the last straw holding it together is finally snapped and the rubble just comes raking down across the way. As you do, you hear shouts of, "I heard something over there!" And you hear the sound of boots tromping in your direction. Quickly, give me stealth checks as you're trying to run away but still remain quietly. Everybody gets to make them with disadvantage.
Oh no, I nat 20'd it.
There's a possibility you could nat 20 both of them.
No,
I've
the
done it
next one was
once in one of
2.
your games, and that was with Ezra.
I got a 19 and a 16 on the die. So with disadvantage,
that's
it's
not
a
bad for
21.
Gej.
Hey,
I
that's a
mean,
14 for Gej. That's good.
better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lys's,
So, what did Liz have?
Lys's scarf gets caught on something.
Hot.
And she has a 9 for her stealth.
Okay, so a 14 and 9. How did Emrys do?
22.
22. Moonin?
21.
Okay. Most of you are able to help, even though you're there, like you're caught. Gej reaches back quickly and undoes the scarf and pushes you forward, just as you all hide behind a pile of rubble as the guards make their way past, trying to figure out where the ruckus came from. You guys are able to avoid them, but barely, I will say. It was thanks to the higher rolls on those who did it. But you guys are able to hide away from the guards. All right. As you're coming up now, you can see the houses in this area are starting to be, like I said, more whole than what they were closer to where the fighting took place in the middle of the city. You also hear some voices but they don't sound like guards. Everyone give me active perception checks, please.
Active perception.
Active perception.
Still not that bad. 16. from me.
27.
27.
10. That was a 2 plus 8.
Moonin is doing great.
Yep. I'm focusing on being quiet.
It's okay. It's okay. Even with a +4, Kesh gets a 9. I'm not rolling well over there. So you hear the voices, though, Liz. Since you had such a high roll, it sounds like a woman, and she is trying to quiet two children who are not being unruly. They're just being excitable children, and you can hear her going, "Shh. We need to be quiet here. There are plenty of people around who want to do us harm. We want to make it back. Quickly, quickly, follow me." As you guys are watching, you see her like across the way. As you're looking down the alleyway, there's another street ahead of you, and it seems like a larger pathway. The alley continues on the other side of that street, and you can see her moving perpendicular to you. She moves across your path down the alleyway for just a moment. Yep.
Now, since I had such a high roll, do I hear any guards around us other than the ones that passed us?
No, not at the moment. Just the ones that went past, and you can kind of make their voices out well behind you now.
Liz goes, in case nobody saw them run past, she goes, There's a woman with 2 children that
You
way.
were the only one that noticed it, yeah. You get everybody else's attention to show them where they went to. All right, moving quietly, or are you going to try to just catch up to her?
I think we're going to move quietly so that we don't attract guards. Or
Okay.
at
We
least Liz
also
is going to
don't
try
want
and
to
move quietly.
spook them by charging at them down an alley.
Yeah. You don't see any, you don't hear or detect any guards in the immediate area, but you know, with those that are drawing attention, I should say, though, you do know there are some in the immediate area because of the ones that drew attention earlier. You don't see any, or you don't detect any others right now. If you're moving quietly because they know the city better, you do think they'll probably get ahead of you a little bit more. So it may take you a bit more to try to catch up to them. Everybody go ahead and give me stealth checks again, though, as you are trying to catch up to them. Hey.
That's an 11.
An 11? Okay. You got a 14. I didn't do too bad for Gej.
Natural 20 for 25.
Nice. And then Emrys with like a 3,700.
No, 21.
Okay, 21.
I
That's
rolled
all right.
bad.
That's enough. You guys.
You may beat me this one time.
You guys keep it quiet, moving to the alleyway. Once again, Liz, your scarf gets caught on something, or the dress gets a little snagged. Gej once again catches up to you and helps you maneuver around that area. Making your way down, you see that this opens up into another street. As you're looking down this street, you can see that there are just a handful of shops or storefronts that have the doors open, and you can actually see a few goods in those stores. You see about 3 of them. Using your passive, since you're just kind of looking for her, you see the woman and the 2 children as they are ahead of you on that street, and she turns and ducks down another alleyway that's about 60 feet ahead of you. So again, you're going to have to try to either move at your normal speed, but if you try to remain stealthy, you may lose her again. So what do you guys want to do?
Can Liz see everything, right? Like Liz is pretty good about seeing and noticing that there's no guards around at the moment.
Yeah, you don't see any guards at the moment in this area.
Liz is going to dash towards these.
So you're just gonna flat out run?
yeah, Liz is now just like, I want to catch them, and I'm tired of, like, I'm not being stealthy enough because I'm a fucking elf, and I'm just going to try to go as fast as I can across the street so that nobody even notices me.
Let me take a look at something real quick here because this may come into play with regards to your newness. Okay. Without dashing, moving at just your regular speed, you can nearly catch up to them. Because your movement is 50 feet.
Okay. So, yeah, so she's just going to move, and because she also has that, like, thing where, like, the terrain doesn't matter anymore as well, so she's just gonna, like, sort of leave her party members behind for a minute and catch up with these people.
All of a sudden, you watch as List just kind of sighs like a little of exasperation and then just darts across the way. And it's startling because you guys have never seen her move this quickly. As she darts across the way, I want both of you to give me perception checks.
It's like
I
she
haven't
goes to give the
seen
sigh. I just kind of like,
I haven't seen her move this fast since the last time we found a pastry shop.
yeah. Oh, for once, dirty 20, 16 plus 4.
Nice.
Perception works for me.
Also a dirty 20, 12 plus 8.
Excellent. As you're watching her feet touch the ground, it's like they almost, as soon as they touch, they're off the ground again. But what you notice is instead of puffs of dust and dirt, you see for just a moment flowers or flower petals that and then disappear. It's strange. Because I know Moonin would know probably. Moonin can give me a religion check if you would like to try to identify something.
And I had spoken to Moonin at breakfast about this.
I heard about the dream, so I have at least a little
Okay.
insight.
Okay.
Is that enough to argue for advantage?
I will say that because you know this, yes, you can roll advantage.
Woo! It ain't gonna help. That's a 3 and a 1.
Wow. Well, that's curious.
She's moving too quick. I didn't see shit. I looked over and she was gone.
Yeah, she was gone. All right. You guys can try to catch up, but you would leave stealth behind. Or you can...
I mean, I could catch her. I absolutely could.
If you double your movement, yeah. Or you just shot her and hamstrung her.
I also have expeditious retreat.
That's fair. You do.
I can go faster.
You can. If she doubles her movement and then uses Step of the Wind, she can go faster than you.
Yep. But I'm just going to kind of look over at my party, like, if she catches him, I think we can at least take our time and not draw more attention.
Yaj goes, oh, I wasn't the only one that saw that then, right? Like, that's new.
I looked over and she was gone. That's different.
Notice she took off the breastplate. Maybe it was weighted down. Now that it's gone, she can move a lot faster.
She's been weight training this whole time. She took off the weights and now she's as light as a feather.
That's
like
everything.
Rock Lee from Naruto.
That is exactly what I was thinking.
No.
Drops the weights and it just...
Oh, those aren't going to do anything, and they hit the ground and it's a mushroom cloud.
You're talking about weight. What are those few weights going to do? Just...
Yeah.
I am now speed.
Shut up, Deca.
It started and I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. And then I thought, Otter, that's where you were going. And I was like,
Nope.
it's okay. He's got this.
I
He
was
can say it
trying
instead.
not to bring it up, and then it came up anyway.
And then I
Well,
was the one that did it. Ah.
I'm gonna say this. I have never watched an episode of Naruto. I only know that because of TikToks and shorts that I watch, where I've seen that scene where he's just like, "Oh, I can take him off." So
That was such a good fight.
Such a silly
Anyway.
moment, just looking over at Rock and like, yeah, you can take the weights off. Oh, thank God.
you literally watch the fight scenes and that's it. I quit watching anime about the time that Bleach got into like their 3000th episode. I
Are they into the thousands already?
No, that was a joke.
I was like, holy shit. They've been
I'd be
busy.
surprised.
I was close to the 200s, if not in the 200 range. Yeah, after Kamundo.
I watched up to the like Espada arc, and that was it.
Yeah,
I don't remember what arc I stopped watching at, and then I realized that's why my favorite animes are the single
Cowboy Bebop
season or arc. Cowboy Bebop, Darker Than Black. You know, it's like Darker Than Black, Cowboy Bebop. I did watch Sword Art Online, and I've watched all of those except for like I think season 3 or so.
Mhm.
But I've enjoyed those. But like most of the anime that I've watched, it's got an ending.
This weeb
Breaks my
tangent
heart.
brought to you by Dire Bear.
Having this conversation reminded me that I saw a Cyber 6 poster this weekend at Comic-Con, and I didn't get it, and I'm a failure now.
And Deca, to answer you, that is exactly when I stopped watching the show as well, right after that arc.
It is not the first time, and no, it will not be the last time that we go on a tangent. At least it was something that everybody can get into, and not just bowling ball arm man guy and ducks to horses.
Hey man, that is a fun fact that just keeps on giving.
It's true. I'm now going to have to make an NPC that is just the bowling ball guy.
I want to meet a dude that's just in like a cart that's pulled by like a herd of ducks.
He's
Two different NPCs. Did I tell you about the Ducknomancer?
Yes.
I've heard of it, yeah.
All right, I know we're off tangent, but for those of you who are new and watching, I do this thing where you give me $5 to $10 plus whatever else you want to give me as a tip, and you give me 3 words, and I will write you an adventure. So I had somebody do that. They paid me $25. They gave me 3 words. It's like don't anger or don't upset ducks or something like that. It was something like that, and they basically started off on a ship that was then caught in a storm and shipwrecked on an island that they thought was deserted. As they followed the trail of their allies' tracks through, they found this town. Everybody in the town was acting very odd. They would quit conversations, run away from the adventurers, and when they would get into a conversation, if they started to reveal a little bit more of what's going on, they would suddenly stop. And whenever they would look past the adventurer, and when they would look to turn around and look, they would just see a duck walking away, going. About after investigating the town and not getting really anybody to talk to them, the bell started ringing in this church, this dilapidated church. The only thing still standing was the steeple and the bell. They followed them as they watched these herds of ducks starting to converge, all different kinds. Peking, whites they had in the Scoby, everything started converging in this steeple. As they got there, they saw this man standing at an altar that had been desiccated. And he turned to look at the adventuring party and says, "I will add you to my menagerie." He was wearing a long white robe that was made of different colored feathers that looked dirty. He had a helm on that was fashioned into a duck bill, and he was a ducknomancer. He could control the ducks. They were duck swarms that would attack. He could cast enlarge on a duck and create a giant duck that would attack. It was a lot of fun, but it was the silliest thing I think that I've ever done. So ducknomancer, I need to write
Sounds
that
like
one
a
as a
really
subclass.
entertaining one shot for
It
one of
was.
these
It was.
days.
It was a. It was a hoot. It was a real quack up. All right, so you guys move. So you move across, and the rest of you are stealthing, or are you just moving?
I mean, Liz wants to get to this person, so she's fine with also dashing towards them.
Okay. As you turn down the alley, you see the woman and the two children. They get to the. They're just a few feet ahead of you right now. She looks over her shoulder, and her eyes go wide as she sees you. We don't want any trouble. We are just going home. Please, whatever we have, we'll give it to you. Just don't hurt us.
Her words seem to physically hurt Liz. And she goes, "No, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to help.
She's like moving the children behind her.
I'm here to help you get home safe. I noticed you out, and it's not safe to be out. Please let us help you get home, and hopefully we'll find some of you that might want to help us with our cause. Not you guys, of course, because of your little ones, but just I want to make sure that you get home safe."
I will. We are fine. We know the city better than most. Just please. We didn't see you. We haven't seen you. You're not here. We will not report you or your presence at all. We were going home. And she's like backing away from you like slowly.
Liz goes, "If I could see you, don't you think that somebody else would also see you? Please let us help."
She looks at you and she shakes her head slowly. You did not seize a creature? There's no help for anyone in this area? I just want to go home with my children.
Do you have family outside of this area that could help you get out of the city?
No. There is me and the children. There are some older people in this area, but there's elderly. It is too much to move them. The soldiers know we are here, but they don't bother us. We are not a threat, and I assume that if they ever need us, well, anyways.
She then tilts her head and she goes, "Do you think the monster is going to care whether you are a threat or not when it stomps over all of the buildings, some that your elderly could be in? Please, we have resources. Please let us help. Let me help."
With your passive perception, you suddenly see another figure at the far end of the alley. And you hear the very distinct sound of a rifle being shouldered and a round chambered. And you hear, "Olna, is there trouble that's in there? Come to me, and if they move closer, I will shoot them. Come on, come to us." You can see he is dressed in like peasant spun trousers that are kind of worn at the knee, a pair of thick work boots on his feet, a jacket that's worn at the elbows, like it's an old brown coat that's worn at the elbows. It comes to about his waist. And he has a hat on his head, an old almost like a driver's cap on his head, and he's got the rifle up. It does not have a it doesn't have a scope like what you've seen Moonin use, but it has some other sort of reticule on it. And he like drops this forward hand, so he's just holding it by the trigger guard. You notice his hand isn't on the trigger, it's on the trigger guard, but he motions to the woman, and the children immediately break from her and run down the alley, and she just kind of backs away, keeping her hands up as the kids move away. The man starts to march, and once the kids get to him, he starts to move his way down the alley, keeping the rifle trained on you. We don't want any trouble from you.
Lissa's hands are also up, as in
Mhm.
like she's not having any sort of anything. Um, and she's just like, um, she just kind of like cocks her head for a minute, and she goes, "If I wanted trouble, there would have already been trouble. I'm trying to help." Again, if my party members can see you, then the soldiers can see you, and the monster is not going to care. We have resources that could help you if you would let us.
Give me a persuasion check.
That is a 13. I am not very charismatic.
He doesn't seem to like be upset by what you say. He seems to like break away for a second. Like he just lowers the gun and he goes, so now instead of being trained on you, it's trained just in your direction. He goes, we want to believe you, but people will say anything these days. Back away for a moment. We are going to leave. And if you follow, I won't say what will happen, but just please. And he starts to back away again. Now that he's got like her, he reaches out with her and pulls her behind him. And then he backs away down the alley. Again, he's keeping it trained just in your direction, but not on you like he did before. So he seemed to relax a little bit. As this is happening, the rest of you catch up. You come into the alley, and as soon as they appear, you hear the racking of the wood on the metal as he brings it fully up again, this time training it on all of you. Stop. No more. I don't want to shoot any of you, but if you're going to go, don't follow us. Okay? And again,
But
his finger is on the guard, not on the trigger.
Liz again has her hands up and is just like, we understand. Please take care of your little ones and your elderly. If for some reason you want to find us, any sort of bird sound we should be able to hear.
Yep. Um, he moves back down the alley, and as he gets to the end of it, he like pick rolls off the side, and he's out of sight. Down there's another small street at the end of the alleyway.
Liz turns to her party members and goes, I don't think that that was the best people to try and convince. Small children are always a touchy subject for most.
Probably could have leveraged him on that gun. You really want to shoot a gun and alert everything around us? But it is what it is. We're at least in the right area for these people.
I think we should go back to the shops that we passed that had merchandise, considering that everything else is rubble.
As you guys are looking around, Liz and Moonin, you notice that this area isn't the rubble super damaged area like it was closer to the city or center or the southern part of the city. This area seems to be like it survived intact. Um, I mean, there is some damage here and there that you can see, but it's almost like this area there was no focus on it for some reason, or they've rebuilt or something like that. Looking at the shops, you can see that there is a general store that has very meager supplies, as though it had fully stocked and then just over time items have been out. You can see there are like tins that are kept that are like canned food items that are shelf stable. You see dry crackers and dry breads and things like that. Anything that could be cured to be kept for a longer period of time. Um, some of those things are there, but any items that would have been like even semi-perishable, most of those items have been picked over. Um, one of the things you notice in the shop that you look into is there's no ammunition. There are no rounds whatsoever. Hunting rounds, small ammunitions. There are no bullets whatsoever to be seen. Um, as far as the people go, you see, like, as you're looking into the shop, your passive perceptions can see that there is a person in there, but it's like when they saw you guys coming towards the shop, they're ducked down, hiding, kind of looking out around the corner.
Liz is going to point out the person hiding, and say a shop owner might be more likely to help us, or might be able to know who to speak to. So I'm not very persuasive, but I'm sure somebody is.
Does anybody want to try to go in and convince them that you mean them no harm?
I'll give it a shot, I guess.
Okay. Moving into the shop. You see an older woman. Her hair is that it was probably blonde at one time, but now it's got the thing where it's faded to white, so you see blonde and white mixed together. Um, she seems like at one time she was a bit on the healthier side, but war, food shortage, things like that. She seems as though she is shrunken down. Her clothes are a bit bigger than what she would be wearing or need to wear. As you enter in, she says, "There's nothing here. You may go. We have nothing."
Sorry, I don't need anything. I don't want anything.
What languages does Emma speak again?
That's a very also good question. German, French.
She's saying this in German, just so you know.
Perfect. And then I will respond without any issue. In German as well. Don't want anything or need anything. Do you need anything?
No. Go away.
I wish it was that easy.
It is. You turn and you leave. The door is right behind you.
Yes,
Turn around and go through the door.
you. I've come to ask a favor. If it would be.
What? She's like looking over the counter when she talks.
My friends and I, we need some help. We've come here from a far place to stop what's happening. Well,
What sort of help?
directions? Is that what we need? We're trying to infiltrate something, right? Sorry. Just trying to find the right words.
You're trying to see if there's any like resistance force from the few people that are here.
Yes.
And again, like they like was mentioned, they probably know the city a lot better
Yes,
than.
the tunnel, the city. Yes, that's what I was. That was like my brain didn't want to remember that. So I think, um, we need someone who can help us through the city. We're trying to get. Well, we want to stop what's happening here, but we can't do it on our own.
We're
We're
not
on.
fighters. We are just trying to live here.
I would never ask you to fight. I know I was. We were sent to help and hopefully find people that, if they would like to fight, they are more than willing to join us. But I would never force you.
Persuasion check.
18.
You wish to help?
I do. The last people that we helped, well, unfortunately, some of us didn't have a good end for that.
You,
But
you, you helped people already here in the city?
yes, unfortunately, there was a bit of an explosion in the streets, unfortunately caused by us,
Hmm.
from what I hear at least.
That was your fault? You're
Not
doing?
m- not me personally, but yes,
But you're doing?
correct. Yes.
You watch as she kind of like stands up, brushes out her dress.
Hmm.
Well, that might make things differently. Um, here, and she quickly scrawls something on a piece of paper and tears it. She hands it to you. Like she sets it on the counter and slides it. She doesn't hand it to you.
Okay.
Um, that go to that address. There are people there who you might want to speak with.
Of course.
They are good people. But yes, we have nothing here in the store for you to buy, unfortunately. So
Yes.
very few things, and
Of course.
but
Um, when we left, like the mansion, was there anything that we would have had on us food wise?
no. Once you can't take anything out of the mansion except for
That's
those
true.
things you came in with. So
Okay.
I mean, it's enough there to serve like a 9-course banquet,
Yeah.
but it's in the house.
Yeah. Okay.
um, she looks at you and she says, "If they ask who sent you, tell them one that you rescued those people, and that that Olga sent you there.
Of course.
Olga.
Okay.
All right. Good luck."
Um, thank you for everything.
Hmm. I've done nothing but give you an address, but you're welcome. Still the same. Okay, cool. All
Yes, I will go back out and
right.
um, I got some information, an address at least. We head here and mention that we helped save some of the people from the streets. Um, she also said to say Olga sent us, or gave us the information at least.
Looking at this address is a few blocks over and up, and one of the things that you have noticed is that there is not a patrol like really in this area.
Okay.
Again, they seem to just leave it alone.
Hmm.
Now, does it feel like there's like something in the air about the area being like sort of protected, or does it just seem like the soldiers don't care about the townspeople?
Let's see. What would be used for that? I would say perception. Start with perception.
I think that's a 15.
Taking a moment to kind of like glance around, something is off. Something is different in this area. Give me an Arcana check.
That's a 6, but she would probably like say to Moonin, probably in Norwegian, does something feel off here?
Do you let anybody else in on this?
No, I'm saying it in Norwegian, so unless anybody else
No.
can, speak Norwegian, that's the only.
No. So 2 of you speak Norwegian, the other 2 speak German, and there the 2 shall meet.
No. The other 2 speak French. Liz also speaks German.
Oh, that's right. The other 2 speak
So,
French between them. So
2 speak German, 2 speak French, 2 speak Norwegian.
3 speak German.
3 speak
2 speak
German.
French.
And I
Like,
know
you're the
sign
only
language.
one that doesn't speak German, Moonin.
You know, it was really tempting to take Eyes of the Runekeeper for my shenanigans, just so I could be like, I can read it.
Yeah, as
I
long
know
as
what
they're
that says.
writing to you in German.
Yeah, carry around a little whiteboard.
All right, so
I will look around the area, and let me tell you, that's a 2 on Arcana.
Yep,
with a +0.
seems
But-
like an area.
Yeah, this is certainly part of the town.
This is definitely the northern area.
I will look over to Emrys and Gej, and since Liss seems to be trying to be secretive about this,
Mm-hmm.
I will use my inside voice to pop into both of their heads and go, sorry for the intrusion, but I don't want to say this aloud. Does something seem off to you here? Liss seems to think something's going on in this part of town, but I haven't noticed it. I don't see what it might be.
Gej doesn't have any idea. 5.
Yeah! Come on, Empress! Single digits! Single digits! Join us!
I not 20'd.
Oh, I'm both happy and sad at the same time.
That's why I'm like, I'm not magically inclined. I have a +1. This isn't gonna go well. That's a dragon. That's a 20. No, I wanted us to just be like, oh, this is stupid. No, that's a nat 20. Also, I got a bone to pick with you about going back in my head. I don't care about apologies for intrusions or not. I hate it.
Hey, I said sorry, okay?
Apology unacceptable.
You can yell at me about it later.
One of my favorite things about Campaign 3 from Critical Role is one of the characters, the Laudna, played by Marisha Ray. Whenever they do message, they all whisper
echoes.
because it's supposed to be that creepy feeling, and it cracks me up every time because I forget about it, and then they do it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny.
You've got Imogen who
well-
gets these nice sweet messages to people, and then Laudna's just like,
and Sam's always over there like, we're gonna kill you. It's like, what? Well, what the others don't notice, you do. Even though you don't have that tie to magic anymore, you get a sense that there's something about this area that would prevent or hinder certain effects, we'll say.
Well, something is off.
The magic,
That-
somebody turned it off.
Yeah, somebody flipped the switch on magic. It's the wrong way. I don't really know how to explain it. Even with the magic I had, I wasn't magic before, so weak. Dampened. Best I can put it.
Gej looks for a second. Didn't pay the magic meal. Government cut her off. Huh? Gej looks for a second and then tries to cast thaumaturgy and like throw their voice, but it just sounds like Gej. Nothing seems to happen.
I will
No
attempt.
thaumaturgy voice? Is that what you mean?
Yep,
Oh.
no thaumaturgy voice. It's just Gej speaking normally.
Minor illusion, a coin in my hand.
Nothing happens. You. Nothing.
Nope. Little fart.
You strain your head for a second.
That might explain
Do
the
it.
lack of patrols.
Try for something larger.
I don't got the spell slots for that. I have 2.
Yeah, but you get him back on a short rest. Take an hour nap and you're back.
Fine, I will then. I'm going to, for giggles, because Liz did it, I'm just gonna bonus action expeditious retreat and try and yeet down the street.
You try to run quickly and you're running at your normal speed.
Well,
And I need to retcon this because I forgot. When you go to use your inside voice, it doesn't work. So he did not get inside your head. I apologize. I rarely miss that, but I forgot about that. It does not work. If you try to summon even the odds, try to pull even the odds out, nothing happens.
Lovely. Well, I think we're without most magic here then.
That's odd, because outside of game, isn't Innsbruck like where like the most magic was? Isn't that why it was the epicenter?
But it did leave a scar upon the land.
At the end, what ended the Great War was the battle at Innsbruck, where magic was used with wanton abandon. Everybody was slinging spells. What happened is that there are parts of it that's blighted and parts of it where it works. Nobody knows. There's like pockets here and there from what everybody has determined. The land itself is not recovered for the most part. So that's why whenever you guys are moving through, remember the forest was all dead and blasted. The ground was gray and stuff like that. That's because of that effect. Now, earlier, you were using magic just fine. But here at this part, it doesn't seem to have any effect.
Well, if we don't have to worry about magic, I'm sure we don't have to worry about other people's magic. Only bullets, which, we'll be fine.
Still hurt. Still hurt.
Kind of idly reach under the vest and just kind of grab one of the handles, let it go, put my hand back.
Yeah, it's still there. You just that moment of relaxing. Okay, we're good.
We still have guns. We're okay.
We don't need magic. We've got guns.
Little did you know I can cast bullets.
Muscle Wizard casts fist. All right, so
one of these days, it's on my bucket list to do one of those. One of these days, yep.
Magic missile. He's just throwing pebbles really goddamn hard. She rocks at people.
My goal is to just not tell the party I have a really high strength until way later. Just one day takes off the top of the robe and it's just jacked. I guess we'll settle this the old-fashioned way.
He just takes it off. looking like
like it's tied at the waist, and he just shrugs off the top of the robe, and it's like, okay, well, I'm
Yeah,
out of
just
juice for the
pulls
day.
it off.
Let's solve this the old-fashioned way. Just start punching people.
My buddy Carl was playing a half orc wizard, and that was really it. He got to a point where he was like, I'm out of spell slots. They're like, haha. He goes, you think that makes me less dangerous? And then he was just like, I was like, yeah, I kind of like the
Magic
idea.
missile.
Magic missile.
MSTLE.
Yeah.
Had to make it fit somehow.
Inspiration. That was good.
I'll take it.
Um,
One way to drive your DM crazy. I'm gonna cast magic missile. What?
I like the idea better that you have a gnome in the party, or like a dwarven berserker who wears the armor, and just like magic missile. Yeah, he just picks him up and hurls him at somebody.
Tuck and roll.
All right.
Woomph.
Fastball special. You guys make your way a few streets over and up, and you come to a series of homes. They're small homes that are built close together, like zero lot line homes, not row houses, but close to it. Bowling ball throwing muscle wizard.
Voodoo. Yes.
Yeah,
All
Decca,
of the
I
yes.
remember your gnome. Yep. Reminds me of Janine Garofalo's character from the Mystery Men, the bowler. She's got the bowling ball with her dad's skull in it. She like throws it and it just hits people and bounces back to her. So you guys find this house. The address is there. It's an orderly little home on the outside. You don't see any like curb appeal kind of thing. There's no plants or anything else like that, but it seems to be in decent shape. As you walk up the small flight of steps to the door, it's painted a dark color. There are windows there with shutters that are opened up. You can see curtains and things behind them that are pulled closed. Knocking on the door. Who is knocking on the door, I should ask.
I don't speak this language. I am just here to look intimidating at the moment.
Well, you got that going for you. All right. Gage?
I think Bliss is probably going to be the one that knocks on the door because she's all like, even though I'm an elf, I seem to be the most unassuming of the party. I've got like a dress on, and technically she still has the scarf on, so like she would be the most unassuming of this like group. So she's just gonna little knock.
You rap on the door, and after a few moments, it's opened a little bit, and you see a man who's probably in his late 40s, but there's like an edge to it that seems like he's seen some shit, you know? His hair is mostly dark, but it's shot through with salt and pepper. He looks at you for a second, and then he closes the door. You hear the sound of something moving, and then he throws the door open wide. He's a broad-shouldered man that's tapered down to the waist. You can tell that he's lived a life of labor and hard work. His hands are calloused. He's wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to about right here, so just off of his wrist. Suspenders on. It's a thick wool material, and you can see that the pants are also like a thick woolen pant. They're rolled at the edges, and you can see a pair of work boots, but they're actually like cleaned. Like they're not polished, but they're cleaned and in good shape. And he just kind of looks at you and he goes in German, "Well."
Liz is going to repeat the name of whoever just sent them because like the player
Olga.
Shelby doesn't remember.
Olga.
Olga sent us and said that there might be people that we can help and people that could help us. We've already helped some of your townsfolk. We were the cause of the explosion.
He leans forward, and at first you think he's leaning in to look like in your face, but then you see him turn his head left and right, and then kind of like look up over you, and then he steps back and says, well, "Come on, get in."
She comes in, and I assume the rest of our party members follow her, so she's not
Yeah.
the only one.
He's like ushering all of you into the house.
Yeah.
As soon as you're in, he closes the door and he like slides the bolt back in place, and he says, "You helped family on the street cause the big explosion, yeah?" He's saying this in like a broken English. You were help, yeah. Come with me, come with me. And he takes you. So there's a staircase as you immediately enter. There's a hallway and a staircase that goes up, like right there. He takes you past the staircase, and you see a door that's built into it, so like it would be under the stairs. As he opens it, you see it's a landing, and then another flight of stairs that goes down, like to a basement. He immediately enters and says, "Come, come." You watch as he strikes like a long match and starts lighting some candles as he goes down. He leads you down to a dirt packed basement. You can see shelves that have canned goods on them, some other items that are stored here and there, like tools and things to be used around the house. He leads you past those and takes a right around the shelves. As he does, you see another door inset in the back, and it looks like it was an afterthought, like the frame was thrown up in this cutout in the wall. The wall is also um, like reinforced just stone from like the natural elements there. He opens that door, and it is just a narrow tunnel that like you can make your way through it without your shoulders rubbing, but it is just that wide. He throws open the door and he says, "Go all the way to the end. Go." And he like pushes you on the back like to move you down the hallway. As you enter in and start making your way down, you hear him close the door, and he goes back up. Yes, Voodoo. Gage? Gage is like, my places. Oh, my places. Um, you continue to walk. You continue to walk. You continue to walk. And you come to another door. This one seems to be less hastily set up. You're not sure. Your guess is you probably walked about 100 yards or so in just a straight line. As you get to this door, you can see that it was more thought was put into setting it up. There is a slide in the door. As you approach, like almost as though they knew you were coming, it slides open, and you can see a pair of human blue eyes that are looking at you. All along this tunnel, there are lights that have been set up. And so you're not in darkness, but as the slide opens, you're here. You are here to help, yeah?
Yeah.
Fine. It slid closed, and the door is opened, and immediately you get the sense that it is one of those that once it's closed, it makes a seal, and as he opens it, and it's thick. It's a thick door, not a vault door, but it is still thick. He opens it, and you see yourselves looking into a room. Several tables are laid out, and one of them has what looks to be like children's wooden houses, like used in a train track or something, but they're arranged to look exactly like Innsbruck, including all of the houses that are shelled out, are broken, and everything. There are 5 tables arranged around this room. This one is one great big table, and then you have two opposite of that and two on either end. Those tables have chairs sitting around them and various humans and various people in all different manner of garb, but none of them in uniforms. You see shelves against the outer wall that have been lined with guns, each one. There's probably about 150, rifles, handguns, things like that, all in this area. You also notice that there are like some men huddled around another table, and you can see that they're looking at a device, some sort of clockwork thing. But the most important thing is in the center of the room. In the center of the room, you see three children, and they're holding hands. And a woman is walking around, and she's like talking to them soothingly and just having a conversation. And you see another kid just sitting there swinging his feet off to the side. As the three children are holding hands together, you get this wave of something that hits you. Moonin, you don't feel it. Gej, Liz, and you both like kind of reel from it for a second. For a second, you feel as though who you are and where you are is almost torn like a piece of paper. For a split second, you feel yourself kind of like a gut punch to your own existence. And it takes you but a second to realize that this field is coming from the children. Emrys, as you approach and the people are watching you, there is an audible gasp as all of a sudden the form that you are holding for a split second shifts to your natural visage. Whatever that natural look is, for a second, it just transforms you before it recovers back to where you are. The next sound you hear is that of rifles quickly and guns being quickly chambered and aimed. A man with a thick brown mustache and brown hair, wearing a faded military uniform, approaches. He looks at you, and you can see that it is not a British uniform, but it is an old uniform of the Austrian army. The German army and the Austrian army from World War One that was your opposition during that war. And he looks at you and says, well, in English, strange times make for strange bedfellows as well. I didn't expect to see an elf, an orcish one, and whatever you are, appearing here. From what I hear from the chambers, that Olga says you are here to help, and you were the cause of the explosions that we saw earlier. Is that correct? Well then. Lower the guns. And immediately the guns are placed back in their places. Everybody seems to relax. 3 children are still holding hands. There's a slight hum of power. You see the woman that's been kind of like walking around them. She leans down and she does that crouch thing where she puts her hands between her legs as she talks to one of the kids. She's like, in German, "Are you tired yet? Perhaps you should take a break. Come, let us have someone sit in your place." And she motions to the kid that's sitting there, like, kicking his legs. Come. He gets up and, like, walks over. So everybody's seen Indiana Jones in the temple, or not the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Have you seen Raiders of the Lost Ark? Okay, but it's a very famous scene of the sand and the idol,
Are they
making them
doing a
change over.
swap with children?
But you watch as the two kids, as soon as their hands release, they grab with the other one, and they grab it again and sit down. As the other kid gets up and he flexes his legs and stretches his body, and he says in German again, "I'm hungry. Is that food?" And she's like, "Yes, of course." And she takes his hand, and you watch as she leaves through another door, and you now notice that there are like 8 different doors off of this room, this big room. And she leads the kid out through a room. You watch as another woman comes around, and she starts to tend to the children as well. After a while, you notice a couple of more children are brought in. One of them still like rubbing his eyes a little bit, and he's like, "I'm tired." She's like, "I know. You can rest while we wait." And the man looks at the lot of you and says, "So, who are you?"
Hopefully friends.
Hmm.
Allies, at least.
Friends we have in short supply.
We're hoping you can aid us in helping this town clear out the trouble that's rolled in.
Yeah. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Give me just one second here.
Yep.
We are a small force, but yes, we are hopefully going to be able to clear out this with some help. You caused the explosion.
I did.
Marvelous.
Those machines carry explosives, and they don't do well when they explode close to each other.
This is true. Well, I am happy to have anyone who is here to help out. Just one second here.
Yeah.
My name is David Bielski.
You can call me Moonin.
My wife, Bella, is the one who was tending to the children. It is nice to make your acquaintance. I'm gonna send you guys the name.
Thank you.
No problem. Make sure I spelled that correctly. Yeah, Bielski.
Do the women and the children look similar? Like, do they all look like the same, or are there like variations between the children?
Variations between the women and the children. One of the kids, he looks like he's probably in his, I'd say, early teens, like maybe 14. You can see him moving around as he says, comes up and asks. They're speaking German, but those of you who speak German recognize that they are it has a distinct accent to it. Like, this isn't their natural language that they speaking German, but it's not.
Sure. I would ask if their German is worse than their English, but I only know their English.
Actually, hang on a second. It's 1920, so he would be. It's 1921 right now in game. The boy would be. It's probably August of this year, so the boy looks to be about 15.
Okay. We have more allies in the city.
Mm-hmm.
How to word this right? We are happy to have allies who can fight with us, but also we could use people who know how to navigate the city safely.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm telling the gentleman for now.
Does the gentleman seem like he understands, or does Liz need to translate?
No, he looks like he understands. Like his understanding of the English language is decent enough that he understands.
We've learned that the large mechanical machines operate on some kind of power source. I think we were told it was a battery that they have 2 housings for in the city. We want to try and take them out.
Do you believe that taking these out will help with that?
It will stop the machines shooting mortars, at least.
No. It sounds as though we have much to discuss then. We should return with your allies and bring them here and have a conversation. But first, are you hungry? Do you need anything?
Looking around at the room. Semantics question on Pact of the Blade.
Mm-hmm.
If the weapon is a packed weapon, am I still loading the bullets in? Or is it shooting magical nonsense?
I'm going to say that it's magical nonsense, but it still can only hold the number of rounds that it can.
I have been keeping track of my bullets that I've been using from it in case. I just keep forgetting to ask. So I will add those back into my inventory.
Yeah.
Looking around the room.
Mm-hmm.
I will pull one of my revolvers out and hold it by the top of the gun, so I'm obviously not making a overt maneuver with it.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be pretty well stocked here, and it seems my other forms of combat don't work in this area. Would you have anything suitable for this in ammunition?
He motions to somebody and they come over looking at your gun. And eventually they come back with a small ammo box that has the rounds that will fit into your... I think those are Welby's, or are those your mom's special ones?
These are the mom's revolvers.
Okay, so those are going to carry 38. Anyways, we'll figure that out later.
Okay,
but
just
he looks
how many
around.
did they give me? Just so I can throw them over here.
They gave you 30 rounds.
Okay.
And we're going to say that 30 rounds, each revolver holding 6 shots. They gave you 18 of those on speed loaders. So click break.
Beautiful.
So, boom. All right. As you look around, the young boy comes up to him and says, "Father." And you can see, like I said, he's about 15. He pats him on, he squeezes his shoulder. He says, "Tuvia, say hello to our new friends." And as you make acquaintances with the families that are here and get prepared to find your allies and bring them back, that is where we're going to call it for the night. Yes, Liz.
Now, do the children look well fed and healthy other than looking a bit tired?
Yeah, the ones that are in the circle don't look tired. They just seem to be holding hands. Whatever it was, that wave of energy that hit you seems to be emanating from the children.
And
And
you
every once
said
in a while,
everyone felt it but me?
but you.
Okay. Interesting.
What's the difference between you and everybody else?
I have tattoos. I don't speak German. The one time it comes in handy.
You're the only human.
And I think Q's muted. I didn't hear anything you just said.
No, I was like
Just
trying to give
mouthing
you a
it to
hint.
you.
That's
Nope. The opportunity was there. I was like, I'm covered in tattoos.
Yeah, take the opportunity when you can.
I could have a
So-
tattoo. You don't know that.
The children do look cared for, and you can tell that every once in a while, like, they're not sitting there for hours and hours and hours. They're changing the kids out. It's that same exchange. But as we call it to a close, I want to thank everybody. Also, go look up the name Tuvia Bielski. Bie. Or just look for the movie called Defiance. It stars Daniel Craig. These are actually real people. They actually lived. And David
Ooh.
and Bella were the parents. Bielski. They were Jewish, lived in Prussia, which is now Belarus area. Whenever World War II broke out, Tuvia and his brother, because I think he was the third oldest, so I don't remember if he's older or younger, but his brother, played by Liev Schreiber, found these Jewish people that were in Poland and created a whole society within this forest and evaded capture forever. It's a great movie, and I wanted to have a tie-in with some historical figure that would matter in this, and my options were anybody other than Hitler. So there we go. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. We will be back next Monday with more of the Troubleshooters. Tomorrow night we have Star Wars Remnant Shadows. Yes, I will get this name down eventually. Wednesday is the final season finale for False Fallen Knights. And then we will be back. I think we have a show on Thursday. I'm pretty sure. I know that last week she was involved in doing some con stuff, which I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I saw some of the pictures. It looked like you had a great time.
Yeah.
And yeah, tune in. Be here next Tuesday or next Monday, because you could learn about famous people that lived for periods of time. Anyways, thank you all so much. Remember, hang tight for the raid. We're gonna go raid somebody. I think we're gonna go with Victor 7. I just like those guys. They're doing fun stuff.
They're up and live. Let's go.
So we're gonna go raid Victor 7. You guys hang tight while we go over there. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. We love you guys. Good night, everyone.